So my COVID was not complete, and I was losing my mind without the gym. How happy were you to go today?
You just start your podcast like that?
Yeah, I do a lead thing, so they know later
Really?
on. On the audio, I do it. They see you. The people that follow me follow you, and they're like, "Oh, it's our fucking hero. Thank God it's not Gino." So they know. We just get right to
Yeah.
this.
Oh, that's nice. Well, first of all, Pat, how are you?
No,
Why?
because I have therapy now. So
But I would like to, I don't want to just converse with like a
no, but
talking
that's
head.
I throw one thing out, and believe me, it will all come out. This whole podcast is about me. I just have
All
other
right.
people there to listen. But
I'm
you know
not.
what? To be
I'm not
honest,
telling you what to do. I'm just saying what makes me feel comfortable.
well,
I
then you
feel
know what?
like
I want to make you comfortable. And you know what? Right now, for the first time in about 4 months, I'm feeling fantastic.
good. I'm glad you are.
I've never been healthier in my head after going through a bunch of shit so bad that I didn't even realize COVID was happening. And now I'm feeling good.
You look great, and that's important.
That it's driven me to go feel better, but I've lost a lot, almost too much weight. I want to gain a little bit back, but not something unhealthy. Just lost a little more than I wanted to, but just been running a lot.
Do you get to have sex with like strange girls that you meet online and stuff?
I say I don't do that. I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to be. They offer, but I don't. It's not me.
They
It
offer.
never was. It's not me.
But that's the beauty of you getting healthy now is because you're doing it to feel good, not to look good for shallow reasons, which are to just have sex with strange women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if I was
that,
you,
and that led to every terrible relationship I had. Because whenever I fuck someone, they stay.
because you catch feelings.
We both do. I'm
Yeah.
a lover.
Yeah, you're like a gentle giant. You're like Mike Brown. You're like a gentle giant because you look like this horrible person, but on the inside you have more emotions because of the way you look. So you've made yourself even more sensitive, the same as I have.
Now I'm less gross, so that's helped. They're like, oh, he cares about himself, and that's me. But the problem is the people that are when I was heavier, skinnier, prettier girls are going after me because they liked the chasing the chub. Now
Yeah,
that I'm in shape, the fatties are all over the place. I'm like, no, I will never be in that place. I cannot fuck a fat person.
I used to.
Can't.
But just for fun. But if I was
It's not fun.
single now, I would go for older women. Like
That's my
old,
new
like
move.
50s,
Finally.
60s.
Oh, you mean older than you? I just meant
Yeah.
everything I've always dated is at least 10 years younger than me since my ex-wife. Now I'm they can't be my age, but they can be 40. They have to just be 40.
Yeah. My wife's 40. And she's still not as caught up as, as if you dated someone the same age.
Right.
Because we're also highly evolved individuals, I would like to think. So we're kind of ahead of, I'm going to be 48 this year, but I feel like I'm smarter than the average 48-year-old. And that comes with, chasing your dream and doing all that stuff. So I think I have to date like a 60-year-old if I were to get divorced or if my wife were to die.
I think it comes with chasing a dream, and also because we want to write jokes that the world can get, we allow ourselves to learn more. Like, I'm not afraid of hearing other opinions because I want to relate to every point of view. I don't have to care about their opinion, but I need to know about what dumb shows people are watching or what opinions have on both sides of politics and all those things, just so my jokes do hit everyone because I want them all to get it. So I think because of that, people think we're good listeners. We're not. We're actually just working while they're talking, but they think we're listening.
I think I'm a good listener, but I can't hear mumbles, but I feel like in the way that I listen to the audience and that I listen to responses to the things that I do on a grander scale and how that curves what I do. You're right. There is a process in there. It's listening, but it's a process. But I'm also a Canadian comic. And there was this thing where they said Canadian comics are the type of funny they are because they listen really well. And I think it was this interactive response with audiences because in Canada, there's no industry. So you were never trying to get anything. You were just constantly trying to work on the craft and not hope to get ahead. You were just trying to get really good at what you were doing, and that involved listening to the audience so much. That being said, I feel great having gone to the gym today. It was,
Good.
It was, yeah.
I'm happy you allowed that question to be asked, sir.
Yeah. You go in and you get to see a lot of people slip. I'm not in the same shape I was before. And I noticed you don't notice until you get in front of gym mirrors. Because at home you can be like, oh, I look good. and then you get in gym mirrors and you're like, oh, okay, I look okay. But a lot of people lost size. That's the big thing there. Like there was a black dude that used to be kind of big, and I was like, oh shit, that guy's skinny. And I probably look skinnier too, but it's better than becoming a fat pig, you know, maintaining some of the muscle. And I did legs because I went in and I was like, it's shoulder day, but I was like, it's been 6 months. I haven't touched a leg press, a half
you can't
squat,
do the legs the same
leg
at home.
extensions. No. So I did the whole gamut, man, except for deadlifts. I got in, I went right to leg press hacks. Then I did Smith machine squats. Then I was like, oh, extensions. I'm going to be sore this week. And then I did hamstrings, I did calves, and it was great. You feel capable of so much more. You feel like limits don't exist. Like I can work out in the garage. The workout I get in the garage is like, oh, I feel good. All right, let's go do this day. But you work out in the gym, you're like, let's go fucking bully people. Like, there's this real positive thing that comes, you just feel so strong. But it's also fear of mine, like, because I was a competitive bodybuilder, and it gives you that mentality where it's like, I can do anything. I can do whatever I want. And that's also, you know, if I get too into bodybuilding, that becomes a problem in my marriage because it makes me too much about myself. Because bodybuilding is the ultimate sport. It's you against yourself. It's sculpting. It's artistry. Schwarzenegger said it's the greatest sport, and he was right. It's taking your body and totally reformulating it. So it's not just improving at a sport, but it's revising an entire canvas.
And comedy does the same thing, but mentally. You have to be selfish. You have to be to work on what you're doing constantly. You have to be thinking about what you're doing. So if you're doing both at the same time, there's really not a lot of time for other people.
And I married a comic, so it's like you think that they would get it, and on some level they do, but then it's like it's still
not trying to be a dick, but not at the same level as you. So therefore, it's a different thing. I don't mean in a bad way. I performed with her years ago, but it's a different level. Hers is more of a hanging out at Greenwich Village and seeing other people and seeing what spots you can get. Got at your level now. You've got to constantly be on because you put yourself in that place and you've got to be evolving. Especially like Mr. 25 Cents, Mr. I write new jokes all the time. I caught the same thing a couple of years ago. When I started writing a new album every year, people are like, "Oh, you're doing an old joke," and even though it's just Connecticut, which is America's Canada, where there is no industry, so I just decided to work really hard and pay attention and got more attention out of doing it. But I was able to build a lot more time. But I can't when I'm in that process, I can't deal with other people. It's hard for me in relationships or anything when I'm writing and trying to build a new hour.
Yeah, it's hard. But you look at some really good people have balance. You look at Gaffigan. He's got 5 kids, and he's able to balance a meltdown, and he's able to balance all this stuff. So Gaffigan can do it. There's people that could do it. And it's also, there's priorities, and it's like jokes aren't everything. And,
but not all your jokes are about food. Like he just writes about food.
Right. Well, I'm sure now he'll be writing about other stuff, I'm sure.
I bet you still won't. I bet you he still fucking won't.
I really hope that he's going to have I hope that he's going to have this transition because, he was the king of what he was doing. He can change and be, maybe he wants to be like the next Bill Maher.
Is he going to let Alexandra write his jokes for this one? Like
Ted Alexandra, oh boy. Ted's like full liberal. And I love Ted Alexander, and I think he's a genius, but I watch his stuff now, and I'm like, he's not wrong, but there's, I brought this up on Real Ass Podcast today, the wall of bro that he talks about. I don't know if you watch Ted's thing, but he's like, there's this wall of bro, and Ted talks very slow, and it's like, yeah, but there's also, the system is in place to make the best people rise to the top. Being a club comic you had to kill in clubs. That's what it was about. And if you killed, you became undeniable. People didn't want to follow you, which means you would have to go on last, which means you became a headliner, which means then you had to write enough material to be a headliner, which means then you got to work on the next level, which is getting to theaters or getting to arenas. And it's like the other thing doesn't work. The other thing where it's like, no, we all just need to be kinder and more gentle with it. That's not funny. Funny has victims. Funny is rough. Funny is mean. That's what makes people belly laugh until they fucking cry. And I don't understand the people that don't want that reaction.
Yeah.
I want people to be so miserable when they get there and then so elated when they leave. Comedy's an extreme sport to me, where it's like you shift these people, and it's all or nothing. That's why it's like if you do a 6 or a 7 when you're used to doing a 10, you feel like you fucking bombed.
Yeah. Especially when you're also, if you're trying to get a 10 though, but not doing what you want to do. Like some of these guys who now just, well, I'm going to do what I think they want. And they're hoping for that weird pandering 10, which I'd rather earn it. Like the other night when I was at comics, someone yelled out during my act about something about the Black Panther dying.
Yeah.
So I stopped and I went, okay, who's your Mount Rushmore of dead black people 2020? And some people kind of laughed and some kind of cringed. So I said, of course, Black Panther. Kobe's on there. I go, I don't really know if George Floyd's numbers hold up. And half of the room laughed really hard. And then the other half kind of I'm like, well, you know, he did allow a kneel, so that helps Kaepernick, so maybe his career's dead. And then they all roared. Then they all kind of looked at each other. I'd rather take that chance. It was funny. It was in the moment. I could have sat there and said, well, I'm at a casino. There's not many gigs right now for me. I could have said, fuck it. But no, fuck that. I'd rather have fun, and people are going to remember that. It won't be in the act, but it's like.
It's the beauty of being in that type of room. In a club, that's what's expected. I'm still playing in the danger zone because most of my shit's outdoors now.
Yeah.
So you don't have that safety of like the Prohibition era type feel where people have gone into this place to experiment with the things that you're not supposed to say. These are people sitting on a sidewalk, and you got to force that shit on them. And
I've been doing people's actual houses where they're actually hiring us like clowns now. That's a fucking weird thing. I mean, I've run into good shit. I mean, I did that secret show for me, but that was different. That's the audience who wants us to be us. And I I got the say your name while shitting on Gino. I got a huge laugh because Gino was in the crowd wearing like the gay, like the gayest shoes with the gayest shirt, the hair up.
Yeah.
Already drunk, Mr. Sobriety, already drunk at like 2:00. And we're standing out before the show, and he was chatting with me about something, and Mead and Stancil went on stage and tried to do comedy as a team, which they're not comics. So it was weird. And someone said they're like the Smothers Brothers. And I said, just kiddingly to Gino, I'd like to smother both those brothers. Gino stone-faced me like it wasn't funny, turned to the next person and told my joke to that person. I'm like, you fucking piece of shit. You seriously stole that? And he's like, Oates, come on. So I went on stage during my act, and I called Gino out on it, and I told everyone that happened. And he had no reaction. He just sat there. And I go, are you waiting for Aaron to come to make it funny like your show? And the place just roared. He just clapped for me and said, that's fine.
Yeah, he's great.
Oh, he's great as that.
Yeah.
Your guys' roles are good, but like.
Gino's going through it. I watch his stand-up now. I saw a clip of that show, and he's like, and these people that want to vote for Biden. And it's like, Gene, rein it in. Come on.
Well, literally in that audience.
He looks like he's going to fight.
Trump outfits. They were wearing Trump outfits it was weird.
Gino looks like he's going to fight Janine Garofalo outside of UCB or something.
It was funny to be in a place where I didn't realize how, you meet the Twitter handle people. You don't know what their faces look like. You don't know their names. They're not good-looking people, but like they're nice. And
some of them are. We got some good-looking fans.
They didn't come.
Oh, okay. But they are genuinely some of the nicest people.
Sweethearts. They've been so supportive of me and all of us there, and it's been great. You can tell because they were laughing at some jokes of comics. I'm like, oof, you shouldn't be laughing at that. That's not good.
Yeah.
But they were there to have fun. But I had to take off. I couldn't, thank God, because that kind of thing for me, probably like you. I don't miss drinking at all, but I don't need to be around people whose whole goal at 1:00 is to be fucked up. Like it's just like, I had another gig, so I had to be at Greenwich, then go across state to comics that night to do another gig. So I took off right after.
Yeah, I'm not a hangout guy usually, and it's like even if I'm, I'm fortunate where like in the city I get to hang out with some of the people that I looked up to coming up. And it's still, even then, it's just like, a little bit of small talk, smoke a cigar, and then I got to get home. I don't want to be out. It's rare for me to be out till midnight now. Whereas, in the old days, it was 4 or 5 in the morning.
Now with me, it's if there are comics there, we're literally the comics that know me know what I like to talk about. I like to talk about RX. I watch someone else. I get excited about new material. I'll chat with them about that kind of thing. They'll bring up a point about my jokes. That's really, it's not really about, it might say like, how are you? How's the kids? Whatever. But mostly I like talking comedy with comics and then I'm out. There's no
Yeah.
hang.
Yeah, I haven't done a lot lately, and it's like I'll be around Attell or Ari, and their minds are always going like that. And Attell will say something, he'll be like, he'll be like, oh, that was awful, and I was like, no, but this bit was great. He's like, that's an old bit, and he doesn't care. And then Ari's mind is constantly working at turning stuff in, and I'm not in that. I've kind of found my thing now, where I'm like, okay, here's the controversial topic, here's the quick joke to it, here's the quickest way I can get it in and out of this and still jab and stick, so that's where my mind's at. But
Is your rhythm off now because you can't get up every night?
Yesterday was the first day and I wasn't on stage, but yesterday was the first day where in life I was like, oh, I'm back in the moment.
Nice.
So now it's like that'll go on stage, and that gives it that don't give a shit anymore thing. And it's been like, I got back to killing pretty quick, which is important because it's like, that's my lifeblood. If I don't kill, I don't make a living. So I didn't have a choice. I don't have a choice to not kill, because it's not, I got mouths to feed. I got fucking shit I got to do. So that,
and you have expectations. Like literally right now, when people, I mention your name and say I'm going to be on Hot Water or whatever, people know your name now. People that like comedy know it now and expect you to be good. Like It's not like you could just be the guy. Oh, I discovered this person. Maybe some people that aren't aware of comedy. For the most part, when you go on stage now, you've got to do that. I'm in that spot where luckily I go to this stupid secret show where they all know the compound people. They might know me from your show in Anthony's, but they didn't know me. So I went on and I crushed for what you can do in that backyard. And I'm walking off like they're like a retarded kid who hit a home run. They're like, oh my God, I didn't know you could do that. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking better than them. I've been doing it more. And I've been doing it longer than half these guys.
Yeah.
They didn't know that. So that's a nice feeling. But I wanted to go there to prove myself, to go next time, give me more money, and you don't need 8 comics.
Yeah. But there's the thing too, where it's like, even if you're crushing, you still got to have those moments where it's like uncomfortable and you still got to grow. And it's always, I'm never the comic that I want to be. I'm always falling short of that. It's like, it's so rare where there'll be a set where I was like, oh, I went up with what I was feeling, what I wanted to talk about. It wove through, the crowd work added to it. Those are so rare. They're not all the time. And it's like, there's so much more. I used to be a storyteller, it used to be 15, 20-minute story. My first hour was 2 long stories and a couple opening jokes, and it was murderer. But it's like, to get back to that, it was so much work. And I remember I wrote these stories out, Pat, and memorized them. And I remember like breaking down in tears. I'm like, this is so fucking hard. Maybe I could just throw this out and improv it. And I never did. And it's like, one of the stories became the hot chocolate story, which like I was, my Comedy Central thing. And it's like, it's so much work to be really good at this. And that's why there's so few really good people at this.
Especially with the stories. You've got to almost break it down into chunks in your head just to have these ways to remember it better, like taking it and almost making it into chapters in your mind, but it still has to come out like it's one full story. Like most comics, when they start and they're like, I'm a storyteller. No, you just fucking didn't edit a long-ass stupid thing. Like that could be really good if it was 30 seconds, but it's 5 fucking minutes and there's so much filler. To tell a story and get the people engaged and laughing and elicit feelings out of them, make them take that roller coaster ride is a skill that you need to be working on like all the time. You can't just go up one day, tell it, and then think it's a story. Like, you could do a one-liner and get away with that, but like that shit. For my first album, I had 3 or 4 longer stories. I had a lot to do with my divorce and things like that. That I knew I needed to tell it right, because if I made them feel too sad, the punchline better be strong enough to pull them back out and make that feeling work and go back and forth. And it took a long time of like beating myself up and moving the parts and saying, well, even though it happened this way, it makes more sense this way, and fucking with it till it finally hit every time.
Yeah. There's this beauty in the storytelling where I feel like it's more of the art than, I don't feel like what I do, some people could label it art now, but it's entertainment. I'm basically a nightclub comic, but I can operate in any circumstance, because I've got the years on me. I've got road salt on my tires. So it's like, I can do that, but there's a real art to those good stories, and it's a dying breed. I mean, Burr does it a little, Chappelle does it. I thought of this line today where I go, you can tell how tragic an event is if Dave Chappelle's going to do a special about it. I was just like, but it's like nobody else is going to get that except for comics. And it's like, it'd be so funny if he just started doing all these things. He does Jacob Blake, 7 shots to the back, a new special by Dave Chappelle. Yeah.
Oh, that. By the way,
Kyle Rittenhouse's 3 Victims, a new series by Dave Chappelle.
His last special, I was like, all right, man.
Yeah, it was poignant, and he's earned the right to do that. He's the best comic of our generation. I mean, Louis C.K., when you watch Louis's last special, if you forgot how good Louis was, and then you watch the one that came out right at the start of quarantine, did you see it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I still think Louis is the best comic in the world. I don't
Louis's
care.
imagination is so good. But, I mean, Chappelle, fuck. I mean, it's close.
To say one or the other, you're not being an asshole. They're both fantastic.
Yeah, Burr's up there, but I think Burr does not make me laugh as hard as those guys make me laugh. Louis, just the imagination and the taboo-ness that he would go into, he was brilliant. But
I'd have to watch his special 3 times to get everything because I'm laughing so hard. Like, literally would have to watch the first time and just enjoy the moments and go, I know I missed shit, and have to go back again and enjoy it. Same thing with Chappelle. Burr, I can watch it once, love it, but I don't really have to go back and get the nuances and shit.
Yeah. But I think, people that attack Chappelle, like, oh, it wasn't funny. Yeah, it wasn't funny, but like I said, he's earned the right. And it's also like, without being labeled a free speech comedian, which, people denigrate that and be like, oh, he just uses the N-word or says faggot. That's not what a free speech comic is. It's that you believe people should be able to say whatever they want to say. So like the people that would attack Gaffigan, like, why would he say all this about the president? He's allowed to say whatever he wants to say. You don't have to equate that with the comedy he does. But it's like, we have this issue that where there's people on the left that are outspoken about politics, then it degrades their comedy. That's not a true thing, I think that there's a bravery to it. I think that if there was comics that if I were to go out and yell like, hey man, I like the president and I like this about what he does, then people would be like, oh, Berg's an extremist now. But I think people already associate me with that.
I think so, because you already speak your mind in other platforms and things. It was so out of left field for Gaffigan to do that. That's why it threw people off. It's kind of like when Cosby just started having rape numbers. You're like, wait a minute, he's America's grandpa. I mean?
Gaffigan was battling inside with this for a long time, and I know because there was an incident. I don't know whether it was like the Kate Willett fake rape threat incident or something after that, where there was some buzz on something we'd done, probably within Hot Water or something. And he came up to me at Gotham and he's like, I don't understand why there's an issue with comics getting. But he's like, the beauty of us all having different politics is that we could discuss them. And that's the beauty of being a comic in New York. And then he just kind of, he's like, I don't know if I should talk about the president. I don't, because I'm worried it's going to, and this was maybe a year ago or 6 months ago. So you could tell it had been boiling up in him.
But it could hurt him. It could hurt him.
I'm sure on some level it does, but I also think, he's one of the Forbes top 10 guys. So it's like he's pulling 15, 18 mil a year.
No, without a doubt.
But like
there are backers that don't want like that squeaky clean person.
Right.
Does Amazon say we want someone squeaky? I mean, like, he's been putting his stuff on there? Like, I mean, that's his worries. I think he's earned his right to say what he wants, but he has to understand the world's gonna be like, what the fuck? When did you start thinking about this? Because they don't know. They don't talk to him like you do at a club. They only know him as Hot Pockets and fucking I'm a white bear. Those things don't vote.
I think Jim Gaffigan's still going to sell out theaters. I don't think it's going to affect.
I think if Louis started to he'd sell out theater. I mean, he was already starting to sell some things. I think
Louis
people still want to hear all their voices, but
he was about to do theaters. Yeah, because he would do a comedy club. They would have to add 2 shows, so it's like 7 shows, and then you're like, oh, that's 2,100 people over a weekend. So why am I doing a club now? Right. So yeah, Louis was at the point where he could have been doing theaters again.
And I think after about 6 months of it, nobody would even talk about it. And the ones that did try to say something like, shut up. It's just like,
If Louis C.K. was a person of color and he was shot after masturbating in front of those two women, he would be celebrated right now.
Oh,
yeah.
Loved.
It's amazing.
If he asked those girls to kneel on his neck while he jerked off, it'd be him and Kevin Hart together on a tour.
Yeah, that Floyd thing, it's good that now jokes are it took a while, huh? Because it was like, I had one shock one right away. I forget what it was. It was like, George Floyd, say his name. We say his name around my house. I call my dick George Floyd because after my wife kneels on it for 8 minutes, it goes limp. But it was like, I'm like, I can't tell this anywhere. And then it was, if black people, if you don't know how far 6 feet is to stay away from me, it's the length of George Floyd laying down. Which is horrible jokes. But then I finally had like a riff 2 weeks ago where a woman goes, I'm married to a cop. I go, yeah, do you role play weird shit like innocent black driver? And he just kneels on your neck for a bit. And it got like a huge laugh and then almost a boo.
Yeah.
And then Derek Gaines was behind me, like doing a black guy laugh or like he's on fire. And I go, my black friend is laughing. That means that joke gets to stay. And it was, it's just a nice moment. But it's amazing how the black celebrities are the new taboo. Like you saw what happened to Ari. You're playing with that Kobe joke. And it's like those are the things that if you go after a dead rapper like Dina Hashem did, or you go after a dead athlete, people will dox you and go to the comedy clubs that you work at and threaten to shoot them up. Like it's amazing.
I would love that. I'm at my point in my career though where I need to just get good enough to get canceled. Then I'm fine. I just cancel me right away. I just want to get known enough so I'm worthy of canceling. That's it. Weirdly enough, that would get me more shows.
It's, I know it's around the corner for me, and I try to stay ahead of it. But it's not a fun thing to have everything that you work for go down because of, a racial joke or your view on something. It's not, it's a weird time that we live in.
The weirdest part of it, watching from when I go to a lot of open mics, especially outside of the city, so it's younger comics who don't really see how good comedy really is, and they believe their shit gets good, and they just watch certain things on TV. Before all this, when Shane Gillis got in trouble, and then his name got bigger, and he started getting more work because people got supportive of him, a lot of young comics were like, oh, good, I'll just be racist, and then I'll become – it's like they didn't understand that he's fucking hilarious and he's talented, and that wasn't what he was. But they started going that route. And then when this all happened in COVID, they're like, oh, I think it's a good thing that mics weren't open, not for us comics, but for the younger people during this, because with all the free time they had, it could have been a real Klan rally at a lot of mics real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting.
Because they would have all tried to make so many jokes, especially Black Lives Matter jokes would have been insane. Like how bad they were. As a comic, I'd love to sit in the back room and watch a young comic struggle with that and fail and basically start a lynch mob. And I would tell them, oh, keep working on that just to be a dick. Mm-hmm. But it would have been crazy for a lot of people. So it was almost good for some people. I am afraid of that once it all opens up, the weird bucket list of assholes. It's going to be like a New Year's Eve all over again of coming out. Well, since we weren't allowed to do anything, now I'm going to be a comic. And a million assholes just coming out and doing it.
But it's, you're seeing that the people that are working now are the people that were hardcore working pros before. They're starting to get the work, and it's like, Mark Norman was right back at it. As soon, wherever clubs were opening, they're like, oh, let's get him. Because he's one of the best around. So it's like, and then it trickles down, and then, the shit gigs will start to come back, and the shit comics will start to come back. And that's what happens. But it's like, I did that first drive-in show in Astoria, that people were shit talking. They're like, I never get on the back of a truck and tell jokes to cars. And it's like, okay, but when clubs open up, I'm going to be the guy that's polished, and I know you're not going to want to go after me. Because if you do, it's going to be a nightmare.
Right. I wouldn't do the Zoom shows, but I took on everything else. I did some shit or like in weird spot, like on a dock near like the water, like where people were trying to build a tent and you knew it was going to be windy and stupid. I was like, as long as I've got people in front of me, I was taking the gigs. I didn't feel the Zoom shows. And I was doing so much Zoom stuff with this anyway. I was just like, I don't know. My mind has been trained that this is podcasting and on stage is comedy. I didn't kind of want to mix the two.
Yeah.
But I was hitting stage right away. So by my third gig, I was doing 45 minutes on stage. And the guys in front of me doing 15 only did 10. And it was like I was ready to go. I was getting it going again.
I still have it. The longest I've done is 27 so far. And I have what I'm supposed to do 45 on Friday. See how that goes. And then I took a college for Sunday, which is weird because I never do colleges. And someone reached out, and it's West Point Military Academy. So they're like, oh, it should be different. You know, they're like, do PG-13. I'm like, I'm really blue, but
I was wondering how they would be there, but it's West Point, so they're all there. So it's
yeah, I'm guessing they're pretty fucking American people that are there. So, I'll rein it in. It's like, okay, I need this paycheck, so I'll keep my mouth shut because I've only had one real week of making stand-up money since this has all started, like one real week of stand-up money. So, and now I've got two. The next two are like, okay, I'm making money. But it's been at the point where it's like, if stand-up was all I had, I would have been fucking washed out by this.
Oh, it destroyed me. I was barely getting by with the stand-up and doing part-time radio. I do a radio station where I do like weekends and stuff and just doing like music and things. But when COVID happened, part-timers weren't kept on and all my gigs were just gone. And so I had to go fucking work retail. And I haven't worked for a boss in like 6-7 years. And now I'm working retail part-time. That was without my comedy outlets. That's why I was at the beginning saying the gym. I would go to the gym a little bit, but our gym kept opening and closing. Then I was not making enough money where I'm like, I got to cut the gym out of my thing right now and go back later because I got to cut some of this shit. So then I went through this fucking trauma thing with an ex and all this stuff, whatever, where it got so bad where I had to start doing therapy. But then they asked me to try meditation, and I've always said no to that my entire life. But then tried it for 21 days.
What do you meditate to?
There's
mother-daughter?
I wish. But the daughter has to be dead or at least ill. I gotta have him holding on to something. But same disease. But the mother lives through it. But it's Deepak Chopra thing, whatever. I didn't know about. My therapist says try this. It's 21 days about abundance. And I never could do it before because I just thought it was hokey and stupid. But I guess I was broken enough where I needed it. And it cleared my running times, my 5Ks better because I pace myself mentally better because of meditation. Since I've been on stage in the last 3 weeks, my act feels more I can clear my head more and notice more. It's weird. It's almost like it opened up like a little window for me.
Have you watched Cobra Kai?
No, I don't give a fuck about that.
Dude.
I don't give a fuck about that.
It's so
I didn't like Karate Kid.
Dude, Karate Kid was backlisted for me.
So dumb.
This is so fun, Pat. Give it a shot. Watch the first episode, please. It's 26 minutes of your life. If you're not hooked after the first episode, turn it off.
I never watched Joe Exotic.
I don't care. Watch the first episode of Cobra Kai. It's the only show that I've seen where you're like, you got to watch this.
But I just watched all the Ip Man movies.
Just fucking watch it.
I just saw
one fucking episode. I'm doing this for an hour. You can fucking watch a fucking podcast. Or
I watched real karate.
Just watch Johnny.
I did your show for an hour, and Mike Figs took my time. Barry Ribs was stealing legs, and I barely got to talk. So, no, we're already fair and even.
Just watch 30 minutes of Cobra Kai. Do me a favor.
Barry Ribs is getting the money I was supposed to get to have my show on Compound.
We are not paying Barry.
All $8 of it that he uses to tip homeless people.
Yeah.
And one's Larry Bia. Fuck you.
You should please just give it a chance. Watch the first episode. It doesn't have to be right away. Just watch it today.
No, if I don't do it today, I'm not ever doing it.
Watch it. It's inspiring because it's like it speaks to guys like us where there's this generational shift and it covers it really well. And
do you still get angry?
Rarely.
Yeah. I got angry today.
I get angry at my wife.
In a while.
I get angry at my wife.
No, but I mean like fight angry.
One at Dangerfields within the past year, some guy said something. He was in the front row and he wouldn't stop talking. And that was the closest I'd come to I picked up the mic stand and I walked over and I was about to smoke him with it. But it doesn't happen a lot. sometimes I get angry if I'm on Twitter, and I'll just be like, these people are fucking idiot, and then I'll just, you know. But it's
I gotta let that. I learned about the mute button, but yeah, some of those fuckers are just insane.
It's not even people talking to me. I watched Norton on Chrissy Mayer's podcast last night, and he goes, I get so mad about this thing, and he goes, these people aren't even talking to me. You'll just read something, you know, read like some Brooklyn Open mic or write something, and I'll be like, they're not talking to me, they're talking about me, but you know, that's angering. But yeah, I have it pretty under control.
I've gotten there with the meditation, but this morning at the retail job, there's a guy who's like literally been like in a loony bin. I don't know why they haven't fired him, but like they're just waiting to. He talks to himself. He talks about how entities have come here from a different planet and they're like bringing the negativity, but they're leaving soon. They just all let him fucking chat. And we're working. It's like 6 a.m, just loading stuff off a truck. And he starts yelling at the female manager. And I thought that was a little disrespectful. I was like, dude, just quiet your mouth. You know what I mean? Let her do her thing. Just shh. That's not it. And he starts laughing in my face because I'm the older guy to all them. Mm-hmm. It was nice to find out they all thought I was 35 and I'm 45. So I was like, I felt a little pretty. But the guy started laughing in the girl's face. And then he turned to me and I said, chill. He laughed in my face. And for a second, I turned. My nose touched his nose. And I go, I'll just fuck you up right now. It'll take me a minute. I'll move you the fuck out of the way and I'll do your job too. And he goes, sorry, sir. And I stopped him and I apologize. I'm like, that was 3 weeks of meditation down the drain. But I don't think I would have hit him. But I kind of thought one hit would feel good. Like it would have felt good. But like, there'd be no point. He's a crazy person.
I threw a guy at Greenwich Village Comedy Club. This guy walked up on the stage and I go, you got to get off the stage right now. And he didn't. And I grabbed him and threw him off the stage.
It feels good.
The chairs. It did, but right away I felt horrible.
The guilt pops in right away.
Yeah, right away. And I go, dude, I'm sorry. I warned you. My test is up. You came up close to it. And then sure enough, I look like the bad guy. The club's got to give him free drinks. And it's like, he was the asshole, and I just handled it. But it's like, you look like the bad guy, you know?
A year ago when I was on stage, most clubs know when I do work there that I like the crowd talking to me a little bit. If they do, I'll play with them. I don't care. I've never asked for security help. I like handling it. I get them back on my side. We make it fun, whatever. I try to do it. But one person was just belligerent and they were just literally, they walked in late and then just started telling me I suck before they even like heard a word. And they just kept screaming and yelling. And at one point the guy just goes, I try to ignore, do whatever. And he's ruining the show for everyone. And I was like, dude, just shut your mouth. And he goes, you fucking shut it for me. And I went, you know what? I yelled to the green room. I said, next comic, get ready. Because I got to go kick this guy's fucking ass. What are you doing, 5 minutes? That's all I need. I'll be ready. I can clean up after. And the guy's like looking. I'm like, no, I'm literally going to walk around and I'm going to kick your ass. So either run or I'm coming to you. So I brought the next guy up. I walk around. Security's just like laughing. And I'm like, and then the guy's like already like trying to like hide in the corner. And I turn to the security guy. He goes, oh, wait, you're serious. You always just fuck around. I'm like, dude, I'm running around ready to kill this. And then I saw the guy was like so drunk. Even if I blew on him, he would have fallen. There was no point. But it was, for the moment, I was like, I would have killed that guy. I was just like, and then I right away felt like I ruined the show for other people. I went back up, kind of apologized, made fun of me. He had left. And the crowd was on my side because they liked me when I was on. But it was just once in a while.
It's a tough tension to fight through. When you create that in a room, it's tough to come back.
When I drank, I'd be the dick. I would continue to go, and I wouldn't have let it go. If I was hosting a showcase like that, I would have kept bringing it up afterwards and made it worse. At least now, being sober and clear-headed, I'm just like, I do feel bad, and I do apologize, and I do learn from it. But like, I do miss once in a while just blaming the booze for hitting a guy.
Yeah. I don't miss the booze at all.
I don't miss the booze. I miss the blame.
Yeah.
What I say is just what I say now.
I drink near beer now. Like I'll drink Heineken 0.0s.
What, did you like the taste of beer?
I
never did.
Maybe. I don't know. But I like drinking it now.
My dad does that. He's been sober 30 years at least, and he still at a party or at a wedding or something like that, he'll definitely have an O'Doul's or whatever. I never liked the taste of alcohol. I just drank it because I didn't like myself, so I was just coating it down. I didn't I never associated with a good time. So now if someone offers me a drink, I'm like, oh, you're offering me a bad time. I wasn't a party. I wasn't Gino. I wasn't a life of a party. I drank and went in the corner and didn't want to deal with anybody. So it's like, to me, I don't miss it at all. When I quit, I just said, fuck it. It was just cold turkey. I woke up next to an ex who I hooked up back up with, and she made me sad. And I was like, oh, God, drinking makes me be near you. And I told her that. I said, you're my rock bottom, and thanks, but get out. And I'm never drinking again. And I haven't drank in almost 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I was cold turkey, too. Almost, 7? I don't know, 7 years ago?
I couldn't do the meetings and shit. That's not me.
I went to one because I had to.
And I didn't like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. They're like, keep coming back. I'm like, nah.
They hand you a new addiction. It's God or whatever, but I didn't want that.
No.
I knew the focus was going to be comedy. I knew I would be better at it right away. So I knew I had something to work at. And I don't know. I don't know if you've fallen into this. I feel like I'm making up for lost time. That's why I'm working so much harder, because I kind of wasted some years. And I feel like I need to put more in now because I wasted my time drinking and fucking around and not doing what I should have done, written as well, or worked on things as well, or felt sluggish.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all wanted to be Doug Stanhope for a while, where it was like, you watch what Doug does and you're like, oh, I could do that. And it was, became a headliner in Canada, and I was a drunk, but I was good at it. I was highly functioning. I was fun. Crowds would drink when I would drink. So clubs wanted me because it was like, oh, fuck, he's drinking. We're selling a lot of booze.
They would bring me shots up, and the club loved that because I would get mine for free, but they'd pay for it anyway. I didn't care.
Yeah. It used to be associated. We thought we were going to be rock stars, and it was like, we keep drinking, but it wasn't going anywhere. And there was such unhappiness with it. And, always like, oh, why is this other person getting this thing? And why am I not getting this thing? And it just became this snide business where you weren't working on anything. And now it's like, oh, okay, I'll take that energy and work on something and make an album or make a special or, develop a really funny show.
We have more time, first of all, because I like getting up early and getting shit done anyway, but that's kind of when when you were saying you go to the gym, you can't do it at home, you feel better there. I can't write at home. I can do the podcast, but if I'm home, there's a couch, there's whatever. I like to go to a Panera or some stupid place, whatever, to write or go somewhere or go for a run, think about a premise and idea. Then I can come home and write it, but it has to work out in my head and stuff like that. When I was drinking or I was smoking weed, I was like, that would never have happened because I would have just gone there. Let me get high before I go to the coffee shop, or let me do this dumb thing. And it wouldn't have been the same. I wake up with an idea and I just go to work,
Yeah.
Now, do you find your jokes now are you writing more about your kid?
I don't write enough. It's most of what I do is stream of consciousness. So I got to grab onto something. In your stream of consciousness, like when you bring up things and ideas? Because when my kids were young, that was me. An idea would pop up. It was always, I'm with the kids all the time. It's them. Now that they're older, 18 and 15, it's way more about myself. I mean, I'm always trying to tackle the main things that are affecting the world. And now it seems like it's political bullshit. So I just figured you'd talk about how your daughter's growing up in the weirdest fucking time in history. I haven't thought about it yet. But
is it really,
I've
at
never
her age it would start, but my nieces are a little older. Like, they're being trained to wear masks where that memory is just going to be a thing. If we get away from it and don't wear them, there's going to be a time in their head where they're like, were we like dying? Like, why was I covering up? Like, or if they have to always, are they going to have a fear where like, I can't take it off because I was, a lot of parents don't know how to teach their kids how to deal with this. So they're putting fear into them to make sure they wear the mask and wash their hands and do all that shit. So you just to pull that fear away now and say, no, everything's okay. The little minds are going to be freaking out. And I've been trying to find ways to do similes to like do it with, like horrible other people and things like that and play around with those ideas. But like because a lot of parents are thinking about that with their kids. So, yeah, I haven't thought about it yet, but definitely something there. Because we won't care. We're at the age where like we'll just laugh years from now and go, oh yeah, remember we were all Chinese for a little bit? That was funny. Like, yeah, it's crazy how that happened. We used to look at them and be like, what are these weirdos doing? So odd. And now people look odd to me with a mask off, like when in public. Like here, it's fine, but like when I'm working the retail job, if someone walks in, you should watch that. If someone forgets the mask, they freak out. They're like, oh god, I'm like, what? We have a you know how retarded people are basically have to wear the salad bar shield thing? Like they're making them wear that thing like they're welders because like their heads are too big but it does not really a mask because it's open air anyway. But we had a guy who's like, he's not like full on retarded, but he definitely was in a Special Olympics, and he wasn't a coach. Like he was there. Like,
Yeah.
he told us, I don't know what in place or anything, but he's like the cashier. He and that's what I think too. All my new material is all about Big Lots. That's the nice thing too. I'm there on the front line being the stupid essential thing, so I'm using that. But this kid, somebody called like corporate and said that they didn't feel safe with him wearing the shield, and he's got a breathing issue, so he's got to wear a regular Darth Vader mask and the mask over it. It's the funniest thing. So I'm like, that's the new helmet. And as I've told him, I said, that's all you are right now. Like that, instead of having to put a helmet and give you like special parking, they just put this on you. We know you're retarded.
That's funny.
He didn't know he was retarded until I told him, so it was nice.
That's sad.
You got to break it to him.
Yeah, poor retarded.
He does complain
What's the
to each
retail
customer.
job? What do you sell?
It's Big Lots. It's like Walmart, but shittier. Like the line I use on stage is, it's like if Walmart got divorced and got to keep half its shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the ones who get it again, I say, if you don't get it, you're not white trash enough. But it's all it is. It's just like a dumb. A buddy of mine, his buddy he grew up with, manages the place, and the guy saw me perform a couple of times too. So when I went there and I'm like, you can help me out. He's like, yeah. He goes, but don't do crowd work. So,
yeah.
Is that what it means? Like, don't. But I've been allowed to be me. I've gotten bits out, but I've said fucked up shit. But sometimes we get away with it. So
yeah.
Like when an old lady asked me for extra large maxi pads, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, first of all, you're too old for maxi pads. And why are they large?
Second of all, why is your pussy so big?
That's the bit I've been now doing, which is like, it doesn't mean that, but I describe what I think it looks like. But I did it to her. I said like pterodactyl wings and all that. But then the whole bit ends in saying it's more about the flow than that. It should be like deep end or shallow water or kiddie pool. They're like, not kiddie pool, but it's been working. But people are still like, yeah, really, don't talk about old lady vaginas that much. I'm like, all right.
People love old lady vaginas.
Some do. I don't.
Yeah.
I talk about a lot of old people fucking in my act.
Yeah, I do too.
I do. Grandparents fucking.
My wife and I are like older now, so we'll do that's our role play. Like, how's your hip doing? Did you take all your pills? That's it.
Isn't it weird to say you're old? Like we are? I don't know what you think you're going to live to, but I'm more than halfway to death.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm healthy. I've never smoked a cigarette day in my life. I don't drink now. I run, all that. And I'm about to turn 46 in October. I'm not going to make 92.
No, I'll be.
Or 82.
If I make it to 80, I'd be good. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to go for. I've had a good life. It could end now, and I'd be good.
Can I be on your tribute show?
Yeah.
All right. Can you write that somewhere?
I hope it doesn't end.
I'll watch Cobra Kai, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
Kunta Kinte, what's it called?
Different thing. Kunta Kinte is different.
I've never seen either one, but I quote the second one way more.
Yeah, Kunta Kinte.
It's Toby to you.
It's Toby. Yeah. Slavery. Do you think white people are going to become slaves? Do you think that that's the end goal of Black Lives Matter?
I think that is their end goal, but their end goal doesn't matter because we're all going to become slaves to Bezos. The only conspiracy thing I went on, and I got Gino on it good, and he went flying with it, but that the reason why they tried to cancel non-essential jobs is because non-essential people, for the most part, we don't have our taxes taken out of our money. We have to pay it at the end of the year. So therefore we can fudge it and do whatever. To control that, you try to take away the creative jobs and make us, like people like me, have to go do retail shit. And all of a sudden they're going to eliminate all those stores because Amazon's going to own everything. And then we're all just going to have to work for them and not be creative anymore. And it's going to be the Bezos world.
Yeah.
Gino like that one.
It's a weird time where we are. It's a very weird time. I have a lot of black friends, and I have a lot of them. And most of the black friends that I have are not very Black Lives Matter friends. They kind of exist in their own bubble, and they're like, I don't really care about. They're like, I just want to do well for me and my family. They don't care about the larger issues. And I think that a lot of people that really think that they can make change in terms of these issues are wrong. And I feel like that if they just made themselves better people, that the rest of the world would take suit.
I think most people I know it's like, seems like a joke with everybody, but it really is. Anyone I know that talks about Black Lives Matter all day is a white woman. Like so much, like so many white women I know don't stop. My sisters are that way. A lot of people, they're all just for it, and I'm like, okay, they all matter, but like behavior matters first.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. It's just like it shouldn't. You should tell me one life matters and one thing that's just as racist as saying none of them do. It's just dumb. It's just like don't treat people like pieces of shit and just focus on your own shit.
When I watch like an incident where there's somewhere I'm really empathetic and you get sad and you're like, oh, this guy shouldn't have been killed. And then you watch another one where you're like, okay, this guy had a gun, was going to try and kill these cops. These cops killed this guy.
Yeah.
And
he was let out of jail. He was a bad person. He shouldn't have been let out because of COVID. They did. He was ready to hurt other people. And then he was an asshole and tried to hurt people. Like, boom, you got to shoot him. I get that. But cops, listen, I'm pro cop. Cops have helped me during this time. I still haven't talked a lot about it yet, but like I had to deal with a lot of domestic shit. And it wasn't me being the bad guy. And cops had to come to my house. And I'm a white male. And usually that's no matter what they go, it's your fault. But no, the police have been very supportive of me and the shit I've had to go through. And now I got PTSD and from all this fucking shit, whatever. But like cops have been awesome to me even during this time. And most of my life they have. I don't really do the wrong thing. And when they have to do their job, I respect that they took this job that I'd never fucking want. So like to me, you can't defund them. I also don't think you should wholly retrain them because we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. We're all just staring at some news things and all regurgitating everyone's same shit. You know what I mean? If Kumia says it, then the army comes out and goes, yeah, we have to wear Klan hats. Like, no, he's kind of kidding. Like, he has some jokes. It's like, pay attention to this. It's like, but I've got no problem with that kind of stuff. But like at the end of the day, everyone thinks they have a voice and they all want likes from it. So I don't think anyone, if you really put a gun to their head and said, do you care about Black Lives Matter? Do you care about this thing? I think most of them would care about black people should be treated like shit. And we should all be treated fine, but they don't really care. It's just attention. Right. I don't even know what they really stand for. And I don't care. I
think equality is important. I think everybody should be treated equally, but I think that also if you act like an asshole, you're going to get the repercussions from acting like an asshole.
Equality for most. Like, pedophiles, fuck you. Like your kid diddling, you don't get any quality.
Those are bad actions. If you commit these bad actions, you have to deal with the repercussions of it.
Yeah, but that LGBTQ is thinking about putting them in there, the P's.
Jesus Christ.
They're going to put them in because they can't help it. They were born with this thing and they need to be allowed to express themselves. It's like, what the fuck? You need the pedophile vote? Is that what he needs? Like, I need the pedophile vote. Like, I
had my favorite joke before quarantine was the trans people going, well, 4 of us were murdered. And I was like, just stop tricking black athletes. That's all you have to do. Because statistically, that's who kills trans people is straight black men. And it was crushing. And now it's like people are so uptight about it. I've done it 20 times since. It's only landed once. It's amazing.
It's also amazing that, like, for a while, their voice was so – listen, you should, like, if somebody wants – I don't understand that. There's never been a time in my life I thought I'm a lady. I've always known what the fuck I am. But I guess if that's someone's real struggle, but it's such a small percentage. Like, there's probably more midgets than there are real transvestites or whatever they're called now. So it's like the fact that they're, like, being everyone's great, all this stuff. Like, when they said Black Trans Lives Matter, like, is that 8 people? Like, who the fuck is it? There's probably more Native Americans left.
Yeah, it seems like if you say black trans people, it just seems like nightclub entertainers.
Yeah.
Burlesque dancers, something like that.
Isn't trans like me? I don't know what they mean, but isn't trans the one where you get it chopped off?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I bet you most of them still have their piece.
I don't know what it is. I mean,
Never
when I
would
was
understand
a kid,
that. Cutting off your dick is a weird
we used to go and get my mom's dresses and my mom's high heels and play dress up all of us. I never at any point later in my life thought I'm a woman.
No, but you did it. It went like, I'm a lady. Like, it was funny. Like, we did it.
I'm a lady.
Yeah. Whoa, look at me. I'm Mrs. Doubtfire. But, like, that's what you did. You didn't do it and think, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah.
What I want to be.
Oh, this feels good.
Hey, I wonder what bleeding's like.
I wish blood was coming out of my nutsack.
I wish I could nurture children with my tits. That's what I wish I could do right now. No, I would. I put on all my dead relatives' clothes. When old people died in my family, if their clothes were left anywhere, people knew in my family, all right, Pat's going to dress up like Uncle Al. He's coming out, and I'd find the stupid hat and the thing like, look at me, I'm the ghost of. I was an asshole, but like there was new costumes.
You were the white Eddie Murphy.
Right.
Doing
I was doing all my Norbits.
Doing fart noises. So fun.
That must have been a great time. When you were that powerful, you could be like, I play everybody.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't do that now. He couldn't play a white guy, or maybe they would they let black guy play a white guy?
Of course they would.
Would they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Leslie Jones did whiteface on SNL. Of course they would.
Black women.
They'd let a black guy
play
be
a gay white man. He could play a straight white man.
Yeah.
A gay white man they would say like there's too many actors in there and they'd have to get their roles.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is there no handicap guy? Remember Bryan Cranston got in trouble for playing a quadriplegic?
He's so good at it though. He's a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't pretend to be quadriplegic. I would move.
Yeah.
I would definitely move. But even that, like I would you do that voice or would you do the Stephen Hawking speak and spell?
Why are you in my apartment, Kevin Hart?
Right. I would but I wouldn't even I would record it on there and then have him hit a button. I wouldn't even want to try to do the lines. I would move my leg. I can't be crippled.
No.
When I first started doing comedy, there was a kid at the open mics who called himself Freak Show, and he had one hook for a hand, then he had a nub hand with two little like nub things on it, and then two fake legs. And in his face, he looked just like Ron Jeremy. Inside, whenever I bring him up, like, oh, the mafia got a hold of Ron Jeremy, and there he is. And he was just mean and angry. Of course, he was mean and angry. He was born like this with like nothing. And his jokes were just like he was out of control, like screaming about it. And one day, someone just yelled out, "Were you fucking born that way?" While he's holding the hook up, and he goes, "Yeah, I was born with a fucking hook. I gave out my own C-section." He's just screaming. Some people are booing. I'm like, "This is brilliant!" Like, yeah. But would he be allowed to play Cranston's part? He wouldn't be a good actor. The guy's too mad. Yeah,
I miss that aspect of like the open mics of seeing just like these total freaks on stage, you know?
Oh, like the amount of homeless people that just go up there and do it. That's what I always thought when younger comics. I say the hardest thing is the first time you get good enough where you feel like you should be on a real thing. Like even if it's just like a dumb bar show, whatever, and not have to be at a mic. When they're told no, because the beginning of comedy to all young comics, there's no. It's just like, you want to do comedy? Yep. Okay. That's why they can go to Facebook and just write comedian because they just signed their name on a sheet and did 5 minutes and their friends went and they're like comedy. So like all of a sudden they get told no once and it's fun to watch who takes that and goes, I need to work harder. And then who goes, well, fuck that. Fuck them. They don't know shit. And I'm just going to be loud and angry and hate comedy and implode. Or who actually takes that and goes, oh, okay, now I need to go watch real shows and really pay attention and know what I need to, because they don't know what to work towards. I liked going to mics when I was working on my own stuff to watch young comics like Rocky 3 when he went to Apollo's gym, to watch The Eye of the Tiger, to watch people that are hungry trying to do well, and their 5 is becoming awesome because it's all they fucking got. And to watch that and go, yeah, I got to work harder. I got to write more. I need that same passion, even though I'm farther ahead, to keep writing and not just sit back and go, I can just do my jokes from 3 years ago. Like I like creating new shit all the time.
Yeah, that's fun.
Especially when it's awful. You know at the beginning it's awful, and you can work it every day. And at one point when it just hits, you're like, I love that. Like 4 weeks ago, it was garbage, and then now it created into this thing.
Seinfeld talking to Colin Quinn. He's like, I just don't know when it's going to be something. And Colin goes, when you're up there killing, and you're like, I'm killing in front of these idiots. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Nice feeling to kill in front of idiots.
Yeah.
I need to do it more. I need more idiots.
Yeah, you'll get them.
Yeah, even if I do. I can just
deserve
lie,
them.
like a lot of people. I can just lie. It works too. I was just bragging to Gino that I get to perform inside, and he doesn't get to be inside because the N-word doesn't belong inside. He didn't like that.
I'm jealous. I want to do that.
I actually spoke with them, and then to your credit, they go, "Wait, and Aaron? Oh, because of the restrictions right now, we can't afford them."
Really?
What I just said, Gino, they're like, yeah, you can do it Thursday, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So down the road, I was talking to them about maybe a one-nighter thing where I can host it and you guys, and then when they get more money, but they don't want to have you come down when they only could do half the room.
Yeah. So that's a nice compliment.
They were excited for you, but they're like, oh, and Gino? I was like, yeah. Because I had Landau come down and do it.
Yeah.
And I had them just talk to Dave, and then Dave's such a nice guy. He said yes to, and I found out how little money they gave him, and I was like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. He's like, whatever. I didn't mind going back and forth, but like, it was, and he crushed on a Sunday with like before the COVID thing, where like he just crushed, like to the point where the wait staff was turning around and watching. But of course, no management was there that day, and I'm like, all right, what the fuck? I was like, just watch a video. But all right, sir, it's been
good.
fun. I don't want to hold you any longer.
No, I gotta go. My babysitter's leaving, and
gotta go do that.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Matt Dixon stayed for 2.5 hours, and I actually had to like almost like turn the lights off on the Zoom. So thank you.
Yeah.
For not doing
pleasure.
that.
What a good
you
time.
Want anyone? Do you want to plug anything?
Sure. When's this out? Now? Live?
It's going to be out next week, but it'll be on my Patreon today. So
I'll be at the Dojo of Comedy in Morris Plains on Saturday the 12th.
The Dojo.
Is
that why you're pushing the Karate Kid shit?
No, but you got to watch it. Just watch Cobra Kai and then message me.
I will.
And my Patreon, patreon.com/Gum Fridays, and in Hot Water, Monday to Thursday, Compound Media.
I'm pissed out sitting on afternoons. I can't watch it live anymore. Only once in a while. I miss my mornings, but I like what you're doing. I don't know. It's too much Barry Rib for me, but that's all right. The people love it. I'm not the people
like that.
People love it.
We
it's the best
need
he's ever
to
done
show.
In a role.
We need to show what's happening on the streets in New York, so we have to find the best way to do that right now.
And, you can tell the cops aren't caring because he's allowed to steal crutches every day.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
If he gets a leg, I'll be happy.
Yeah, he deserves a leg. Yeah,
or just fun. A baby. Steal a baby. If you get him to steal a baby.
Jesus Christ!
He's obviously telling them he's stealing their shit because they don't chase him.
Yeah, but they can't. They don't have legs.
Not one of them had legs.
All right.
With their leg, they're writing the bit for him. So
yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Pat. What a pleasure.